This is the Beyond the Prophy podcast, the podcast that empowers you and inspires you to seek career excellence while pursuing your passion. And I'm your host, Jasmine Haley. Welcome to the Beyond the Prophy podcast. This week's episode is very inspirational and very encouraging. My guests were Dorothy Ferreira and Mary Jensen, who were previous guests of the Mom Genesis podcast. And I have been very thankful in my professional career to meet these amazing women. They are filled with so much joy and so much positivity, and they are examples of true servant leaders. They are consistently sacrificing their time and their energy to give back, and you can see the fruits of their labor manifesting in what they share in this particular episode and in how they just carry themselves. Mary was the recipient of Heart to Hand, so you can definitely see that she carries on her service with the senior memory care recipients through High Life business model. She has a business within a business. And then you also see that in the outreach that Dorothy does, as well as Mary, with Alliance for Smiles and the mission trips that they put on. I invited them to come back on this podcast and to be re-interviewed because I think it's important for us as dental hygienists, when we're dealing with so much negativity as we see in the world today with on the news, it's important for us to fill our minds up with positive thoughts and to continually learn and find ways to give back. When we give back, we immediately remove our mind off of any negative circumstance that we may potentially be going through or challenge that we may be going through, especially when we're serving the underserved or those who truly need our services. And Mary and Dorothy, they share that in this particular episode, and they share on how their many years of doing this work and the mission trip work, how they're now turning their experience to serving the hygienist. They want to educate any and everyone that's willing to listen through their CE course and the work that they're doing on how they can have the same experiences as they have had. And mission trips are not for everyone. They are challenging, very much so. But when you hear the stories that Dorothy and Mary share, you can tell just by the emotion that they display and the passion that you can hear in their voice that it's all worth it. And so with this particular episode, I want you to hear from these amazing women, find out what helped them to keep their career excellence, their satisfaction in their career, and also to find out how you can personally get involved or perhaps have them come and speak to you at your local component or association meeting, because the message that they have to share is invaluable. And if you're not in a position where you can go on mission trips, you will find a way to be able to support these amazing women, because what they're doing is nothing short of amazing. So take a listen to this episode and keep in mind that they will be speaking at different CE courses, but they will also be one of the featured speakers and panelists at the Think Beyond the Prophy Con in 2018 in October. I haven't officially published the page or website to this event yet, but it's going to be epic. And when I say epic, it's a capital EPIC. So it's going to be a 2-day event in October. You're going to be so empowered, so inspired to take on and conquer the rest of your goals. And these amazing women will be there in person, sharing their message, sharing their stories, giving you the how-tos on how you can get involved with Mission Care, especially if you're a clinical hygienist and you are proud to say you're a clinical hygienist and you want to stay in clinical care. These are some amazing resources for you. So definitely contact them. But if you are willing to travel and come to the Think Beyond the Prophy Con in 2018, you definitely want to be there to help elevate your career and redefine it so that you can be to the point where you are thinking beyond the prophy like these ladies. So enjoy this episode, and I look forward to talking with you again the next time.
Welcome to the Beyond the Prophy podcast. I am excited to have this wonderful conversation. I always say I'm excited, and I truly mean that. I have friends here that are joining that I've had the privilege to interview beforehand, and now they're coming back on the show together, two rock star crown jewels in dentistry and dental hygiene in particular. And I would just love to give a warm welcome to Dorothy Ferreira and Mary Jensen. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you, Jasmine.
We did it in unison. We can do it in harmony.
Well, I'm so excited just for having both of you on Mom Genis. It was such a great conversation. I love what you're doing, and I think you both have embodied in your career how wonderful dental hygiene could be. It's really what you make out of it, and I think what you both have particularly done is one that should be celebrated. Not everyone can do it. I've learned to have an appreciation for that after hearing Dorothy speak about it to my students. I didn't realize the scope of everything that you have to sacrifice when providing services internationally. So I would love to dive into that, get straight into there. Our whole the premise of this podcast is to really focus on career excellence and career satisfaction. There's a lot of hygienists, and I don't know if you have seen that also on these forums, who are completely miserable.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been there just 2 years ago, and just they see no way out.
I think that's one of the great things about the boards, though, are that it's connecting people that you would have never had a connection with, and hearing people doing amazing things. And all of a sudden, I think it opens up the possibility in your brain that, hey, I could do that. Mm-hmm. I think that it's amazing. I love getting on the boards, and again, it just is something that I find myself unfortunately doing a little bit too much lately. And only because I find it inspiring, and I'm learning so much.
Mm-hmm.
It's so true. I agree with you 100%, Dorothy, and also what you said too, Jasmine. There's so much information out there, and we can all learn from each other. And I love that. I just absolutely love it.
Me too. Definitely. When you're in graduate school, though, it's a little bit of distraction. I've had to leave some groups and unfollow them because
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, I would be on there forever.
Yes, I
Reading
know.
Comments.
And I'm finding myself using that as I procrastinate, as I have that assignment due, and I'm supposed to be doing it, and I just all of a sudden drift into one of the groups because I need something positive because I'm stressed.
And it's so true, because some of the stories are so inspiring. You feed on it, and then like, then there's another one, and it's really great. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think too, at least what I've been finding, and maybe it's because I've carefully culled which ones I was going to participate in, or at least kind of lurk around in.
Mm-hmm.
But I find the majority of what I'm seeing are positive. I'm joining groups that are about positive and building and supporting and encouraging.
Mm-hmm.
And I just find it so refreshing, especially when you hear of how nasty people can be on the internet. And for me, I think the big thing is to stay away from the constant complaining, because I think that energy just breeds itself.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're just sitting there and talking, I mean, we all can complain about everything. I mean, there's always something, that you could pick on. But when you're around people that are sitting there and helping you to see the higher parts to it, it just lifts you up and makes you feel that way also.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I agree.
Which is why I love being around both of you.
Oh.
Yeah,
Well, ditto there.
I can be around you guys anytime. I'm like, yeah, they've got great energy. I love your enthusiasm. So my question to both of you is, what has given you career satisfaction? Let the listeners know that may have not had a chance to get to know you on Mom Jenna's podcast. What particularly has kept you motivated and passionate in dental hygiene?
Well, Dorothy and I know each other from mission trip work that we've done with an organization called Alliance for Smiles. They're based out of San Francisco, and they provide cleft lip and cleft palate surgery to underserved children around the world, China and many countries in Africa. And we connected both volunteering for this organization, and I would have to say it's probably one of the things I'm most proud of in my career is that work that I've done with Alliance for Smiles. It's given me a great deal of professional satisfaction. And I always like to say, if you're in a situation, your current work situation, you're not happy with it, go volunteer. Mm-hmm. Go volunteer, because and I know it's hard. I know we're all busy. We all have, a million things going on. But if you can carve out even a small part of a few hours a month, the people that you'll meet will lift you up. They'll push you forward. Would you agree, Dorothy?
Oh, absolutely. I think that also when you are volunteering, you get out of your own stuff, and all of a sudden you realize that, where you are is not so bad, and that you have something to give. I think when you have something that you can give and you can share, and there are people that can accept it and appreciate it, it just feels really good, and I think sometimes in our clinical practice, and even sometimes in mission work, but we're working at people when they're their most vulnerable. You are getting into their mouth. It's an extremely intimate, vulnerable part of their body, and a lot of times there might be some pain or some discomfort with it, and there's fear because people who certainly grew up in my time, dentistry was not the same, and so it was not gentle dentistry. I had almost every tooth in my mouth filled without any kind of anesthetic. And are you okay? I know CPR.
Yeah. Wait, she's coughing forcibly. Oh, poor okay. Jasmine.
I tried to sneak a little soup.
Oh. Nourishment.
It's like a gumbo. And the spice got me.
I want gumbo.
So sorry.
No, I want gumbo.
And I'm keeping that on the episode. That is so funny.
Yeah. Are you okay?
Yeah, you guys are so sweet. Instead of laughing, you guys are like, are you okay?
I'm getting ready to call 911.
I'm okay. All right. I won't do that again.
Perfect.
But anyway, I just think that when you're there and you're doing that, sometimes we don't get the kind of recognition for the work we're doing from the people we're around. And then when you go in and you do some kind of volunteering, you can just really, it gets to be less about you.
And I know Dorothy will agree with this. There's on these mission trips, it's a full medical team, from plastic surgeons, anesthesiologists, OR nurses, PACU nurses, pediatrician. It's a full medical team. And wait for it. Dentistry is incorporated in that. We're all working collaboratively for the better health of that child or that young adult, or even older adults we've done surgeries on. So it's nice to be recognized and appreciated for that. And that right there just gives you so much professional satisfaction. I mean, I love that. I love it.
I think it should be a rule in just life in general, because in fact I was at a religious retreat a week or two ago, and one of the things that they brought up is when you're dealing with different difficult challenges and trials, when you give of yourself and you serve others, just like you said, it just it brings you a level of satisfaction. You feel closer in your relationship to God, and how that really kind of gets your mind off of some of the challenges that you're enduring when you're able to do good for others. So I love the fact that you brought that out, and it's just a life rule in general. whether
Yeah.
it's professionally or in your own personal life. The ability to
Agreed.
give back is so powerful, not just for the person that you're affecting, that you're helping, but just for your personal self, your personal development.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. I really, really do. So, how do both of you guys have just such a peaceful aura. I don't know if it's because you're in a different phase in your life where you've raised your children, but
Yeah, that makes it
Yes,
calmer.
that could be. That could be part of it.
how do you keep such a positive mindset?
Oh boy. I think you have to just keep looking into new and different things to do, especially within your personal life, your professional life, and just keep reaching and trying to continue to grow and to learn. When you stop doing that, if you think we're just going to stay like this, then I think that's when you kind of run into trouble in life. So just to be open to new ideas and meeting new people. And now it's, going back to what we were just talking about, the different forums, like there's people that you can get a lot of feedback from instantly, positive feedback. So I think that's just really important.
Yeah, and I think too that point about being out there and getting engaged. The one thing that I know, Mary, I know that you work with seniors quite a bit. I have a care center that's right by the office where I practice, and so I see a lot of seniors also. And the one thing that I can say is that the ones that are keeping engaged with the world and reading and interested and again just growing and expanding, they're the ones that come in that are so young in spirit. It's don't shut yourself off, and I think that goes to when we're talking about professional excellence,
Right.
in your profession also. Look for those continuing ed courses that are going to challenge you and expand your mind and what you're able to do. Read the books of people that are going to help you become a better you.
Exactly.
More of you.
Right. I do some work in the state with the students, and when I get a chance to talk to the students, the dental hygiene students, I'll say, you have each other right now, but when you graduate, you could be in a practice where you could be a solo hygienist. Get your tribe, so to speak, together, so you have other hygienists that will push you forward, and you can help push them forward as well. I think it's really important. It's not good to be isolated in the dental profession, and I think there are many offices that are isolated, and I think it's just good to really focus and work on collaborating with each other as much as possible.
And I think education, I
Right.
go back to education all the time, because it just forces you to all of a sudden expand your horizons. I don't know, Jasmine, you mentioned that if we mentioned that we're in grad school together.
No.
And here I am, I've been practicing hygiene for 30 years and just finished a bachelor's degree, and I'm working on my graduate degree. And I started it just as a way of, when we go on these medical missions and I'm trying to convince these people who are running dental departments to contemplate doing a broader preventive focus. If you come with the 2-year degree, I realized they weren't really listening to anything I had to say. And so I figured, let me go and get those further degrees so that when I go, I come with some authority. And that was really my whole reason, first going back to school. But what I found is all of a sudden, it sparked in me this desire to do more and to get more involved in my profession and look for other opportunities beyond working clinically, which I probably will do until my hands fall off, because I absolutely love my clinical practice. But I also realize that there are parts of me that really have dreams of other things that I never dared to dream.
Yeah, absolutely. It does. It really, when I actually did my bachelor's degree directly after my associate's degree, and that expanded my mind. Like, I just never really I never really saw anything else than, okay, I'll just go and work, in private practice, and every single time I've either been intentional with the CE that I've taken or gotten involved with volunteering with the professional association, and now with my graduate degree, meeting individuals like yourself, it's definitely been a huge fire builder, I guess, or sustaining that fire within me to keep pushing and seeking other ways to have career excellence. It doesn't stop once you graduate. It should be a continuous road for you to stay on. Otherwise, you'll die out. You'll die out in the profession.
Right. And we need to move our profession forward.
Absolutely.
And encourage, you don't just stop at the associates, even if you're taking one class at a time. I went from my associates to my bachelor's to my master's. I kind of went straight through taking classes at night, working full time, way long time ago. But I have to say that given the career change that I've had in the last couple of years, going from full-time clinical to now working, providing oral hygiene care for dependent seniors, that MS after the RDH on my business card has opened doors in skilled nursing care communities, memory care communities, because they might not know what RDH means, but they see, oh, well, she has a master's degree.
Wow.
And I think it has, I shouldn't say think, I know it has definitely helped open doors for me. So, because you're in the medical field and they don't know dental, it's our job to, communicate and to educate as many people as we can what the dental hygiene profession is all about and what we can do to help.
Absolutely.
We can do to help.
Absolutely. So we mentioned Alliance for Smiles, but you've kind of hinted a little bit about what you're doing for senior care, so we don't want to leave that out and forget to add that. So both of you have had experience with international care, and I do want to talk a little bit about that a little bit more. But then you mentioned senior care, Mary. So what exactly are you doing with that?
So I'm part of the High Life Oral Health Alliance, and we're a network of dental hygienists that provide weekly oral hygiene care to dependent seniors. So I have like a business within a business. High Life was started by Angie Stone. Just Google High Life, you'll get all the information you ever wanted. And I have my own clients. Today I saw 10 clients in 4 different communities, and most of my clients are in memory care, and I see them every week, and I provide thorough oral hygiene care: brushing, flossing, proxy brushing, dry mouth sprays. I go in with my light and my loops, and they can't do it for themselves anymore, and many times the staff is taxed and they just can't keep up with it. So it's a private pay service. The family pays me or pays High Life, and High Life pays me, and I absolutely love it. I'm doing lots of educational presentations, and I really think in the future this will be a great leap forward for dental hygiene if we can put a dental hygienist in these communities to provide this care. And it's not for everybody, I get that, but I think for many hygienists, they would find it very, very rewarding. So.
And I like the way that you put it when we initially talked. It's a business within a business.
Right.
So it challenges you in ways that many hygienists are really looking for. They want that autonomy. They want to be able to set their own schedule. They want to be able to have an impact and make a difference. And you can do that within the High Life organization. Yeah,
within the model, absolutely.
Yep. That is so awesome.
And I have flexibility with my schedule, so I can do these mission trips, and same for Dorothy. That's the big connection.
That's it.
So how did you find Alliance for Smiles? Like, what would you say to a hygienist that's looking to do work like that? Like, how did you stumble upon that organization?
For me, I found Alliance for Smiles because a patient in our practice was a Rotarian, and Alliance for Smiles was started by 5 past Rotary presidents in the San Francisco area. And a lot of the funding and the grants that we get come through Rotary. And this group that was in a town close to where I practice, this Rotary Club, one of our patients belonged to it, and they were helping to sponsor a mission going to the Philippines, and she came in and talked to us in the office about it, and I ended up going to Bangladesh, I think like 6 months later on that. So anyway, that's how I got to know about it. Mary, how about you?
Yeah, so the dentist that I was working for at the time was a Rotarian, and the town that we worked in, they too were sponsoring, helping to co-sponsor a mission trip. And he went to China and came back and was talking about the dental hygienist on the trip. And I just was, wait a minute, what? A dental hygienist on a medical mission trip? Okay, talk to me. I need more information. And I mean, like within 9 months, I was on a trip. So
Wow.
you just have to have a little maybe tenacity. Would that be a good word, Dorothy? And do your application and cross your T's and dot your I's and have a little bit of wanderlust. Like you have to want to go to places and be out of your comfort zone a little bit. But I mean, Dorothy and we've literally been all over the world with this organization, and I can't say enough about it.
No, met some of the most incredible people, and had a hand in seeing miracles happen every day, all day long. It's just one of the most amazing things to ever be able to be a part of.
Right.
So what is the most moving story, the one that's touched you the most in your travels?
Oh gosh, that's a really hard question. You go, Dorothy. You go.
Oh no, I was going to let you go first. You know what? I'll say, for myself and working, one of the things that was so wonderful is I was in the Philippines and I was working on the father of a baby who was having surgery, because the way that we work it is, if you've taken care of the patients that need to have care and you still have time in your day, you grab anybody you can get and you do education and you do prophy, you do as much as you can. So I worked on this father, and he had never had his teeth cleaned before in his life, and I had to be quite firm as I was cleaning, and a little bit maybe hurt him. And as I was finishing up, he was crying, and I said to the actually a nurse that was translating for me, please apologize that I hurt him, but tell him I wanted to just make sure I was as thorough as I could be, because I won't be able to see him again. And they talked for a moment, and the translator came back and he said he's not crying because you hurt him, he's crying because he's never been treated so well and he doesn't have the words to thank you.
Wow.
I don't have that happen to me every day.
No.
So that, from my own work sense, that was just it. And that was, I guess, my second mission. All of a sudden it made me realize the impact that I could have as a hygienist on these missions.
Yeah. Wow.
There was a young man. He was probably in his late 30s, early 40s, and this was on a mission trip to Ghana. And his name was Richard, and he had a quite severe cleft, bilateral cleft lip. And he presented, and they had time on the schedule, and they were able to do the surgery. And I mean, the results were simply miraculous. They were amazing. Mm-hmm. And on the last day of these mission trips, those that can come back for a final check with their surgeon. And he came back, and it looked so good. He had just kind of stayed in the area since his surgery, which was just a few days before. And he wasn't leaving. And we couldn't figure out, okay, well, why isn't Richard leaving? He's still here. He knows he can go. And he didn't want to leave until he got some sort of paper from us that was signed, because he no longer looked like his ID. And he thought if he would match that picture. So he wanted to let one of the doctors from one of the surgeons saying, I did this on him, and that's, to correct this. And it was just so, you're so wrapped up in so many different things, and then all of a sudden you come to this, halting stop, and you're like, wow, we have just totally changed the direction of this man's life. And it's,
wow.
it's just amazing.
Yeah.
And
That's
I
incredible.
think too, I think the time that we get to spend with people and the connections we can make. I thought of one other story from Nigeria where there was a little girl who came and sat in my chair, and she had rampant decay. I don't think there was a single tooth in her mouth that did not have decay.
Wow.
And it was unusual for what I saw in Nigeria because the diet there does not tend to have a lot of sweet things. And so, I start talking with her dad, and I'm asking him about things and about her diet, and he said, yeah, she likes sweet food, and so we give her whatever she wants. And I said, why would you do that? And he said, because she's very ill. She had sickle cell anemia. And I said, part of the thing is that she needs nutrition, and she probably is not able to eat because of all of this disease in her mouth. And try making her soup, something that has some nourishment for her besides just the sweet, soft foods. One of the doctors that was from country, they were all on strike while we were there, and he overheard me talking with his father and the little girl, and he decided to forego the strike and quietly worked on her every day. And right before we left, the dad came back to me, and he told me that her name was Habib. And he said, Habib only has one more tooth that needs to be filled. They're going to take care of it the next week. And I asked how she was doing because it was really extensive amount of work. And he said, she's doing great. And I looked and I said, is she eating? And he had this smile on his face that I'll never forget. And he said, yes, she's eating real food again.
Wow.
And I thought, it was because of my role as a hygienist where I have that time to sit and get to know people and talk to them and look beyond. And because of our education and knowing about nutrition and all, that it allowed me to have that place in there too. Again, those are just a couple of the things that for me as a hygienist that were just blew me away.
Jasmine, this could be just a whole other podcast. We could just go on and on and on with these stories.
Mary, we'll have our own podcast. It'll be Dorothy and Mary recount the patients on missions.
No, if people want to hear more,
subscribe.
They have to have Dorothy and I come and speak to their group because we want to share all of our experiences.
Yeah, so that was my next question.
Yeah.
That was actually my next question. Like, how are you helping hygienists to enter international care and mission trips?
Mary and I together, we were both in Zimbabwe this summer on a mission.
It was amazing.
And we had ahead of time been talking about it, but there we really had a lot of time to talk and decided that we wanted to create a continuing ed course and an information session with hygienists to teach them or to share with them ways that they can get involved in doing medical missions or dental missions, just getting involved in missions.
So, yeah, we're excited about that, and we'd love to have the opportunity to share it with anybody. Hygienists, assistants, dentists, they bring a full dental team on these trips as well. So we'd love to answer questions and just share our experiences. And we have some, I'll just say, pretty remarkable pictures that if you're not shedding a tear, there's something wrong. There's something wrong.
I certainly was so full of emotion after hearing just one of you. Okay, hearing Dorothy speak and seeing what she's done just gave me a newfound respect. I didn't fully understand, and I don't really until you actually experience it. But just getting that little bit of piece of what she shared from her trip, and that was just such a short period of time that she was with us, was just absolutely phenomenal. So I definitely, listeners, I endorse this CE. And Beyond the Prophy, endorse the CE. You have got to book them and actually hear them speak. It's absolutely powerful. It just gives you such a greater appreciation of what we're able to do in our profession. If you're not sure whether or not we have an impact, you need to hear them. You really do.
And we also share a lot of resources so that if it's something that you're interested in doing, first of all, you can always contact one of us and we can help you along too.
Yes.
But we'll also give you the resources so that way you can prepare yourself for it. What do you need to go on a medical mission? What do you have to do to prepare? How should you go about it?
We have packing lists, and you need to bring, and it literally lists out everything that you need to bring. And so again, like you were going back to the different forums that are on Facebook and such now, people helping each other. We're the resource for that, and we want to assist in any way that we can, because we love doing it. So when you love doing something, you want to share it.
And I think we too know how incredibly we feel, I guess, how much it's changed our lives.
Yes.
And the richness that it's given to us, and it's kind of, you want to share that. But it's, you don't want to be the only one that gets to have that experience. You want people to really feel what it's like to be a part of changing lives in a very, very visible, clear way. I think we all change lives in ways, but you don't always know about it.
Absolutely. So my final question to both of you is, what is the best career advice you've ever received?
Best career advice. Ooh, that is a good question.
I'll just say for me, it's keep learning.
I was gonna say stay in school, but that sounded kind of corny.
I'm glad I got it out first.
Yeah.
Now you got to think of something else, Mary.
Yeah. Be adventurous. Be adventurous. Don't feel, pegged into a certain role. Look for other things that are out there. Continue growing.
How many years of practice for you, Mary?
36 years as a dental hygienist.
Wow. And 30 for you, right, Dorothy?
30 for me, yeah. I just had my 30th anniversary at the office where I'm practicing.
Wow, that's incredible. Incredible.
Nobody noticed it but me.
Oh. And your patients noticed that.
But it's okay. But it's okay. Yeah. No, it's good. I'm family there, and that's all right.
Well,
that's a good place to be.
Yeah, that's true. That is so true. That says a lot that you've been in that practice for that long. So it's obviously a great place. Great place. Well, I just want to thank you both so much for being on here and sharing your journey, a portion of it, because there's so much more to tell. If listeners are interested in getting in contact with you, where should they go?
They can email me. I'm happy to respond via email at Mary Jensen, MaryJensenrdh @gmail.com. And I'm on Facebook too, so you can look me up there.
And my email would be my name, Dorothy Ferreira. That's DorothyFerreira. I hope that you put it in some writing, Jasmine,
yes,
because it's at me.com, me.com.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much. I love everything that you've shared. I already know exactly what I'm going to title this episode, and I can't wait. It's like formulating in my head, like, oh yes. I just can't wait to share it and see the response from hearing about your travels. So thank you again for being on the show.
Thank you. Thank you, Jasmine.
Thank you for inviting us to come back on.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Anytime.
Yeah, and so now I have to go and do some schoolwork, Jasmine.
Yeah, you two need to go study now. You need to go study.
No, I have to give my first lecture tomorrow. I have a double-back lecture tomorrow morning.
What's the topic?
You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
It's interesting. The treatment of the cleft lip and palate patient.
Wow.
And then orthodontia. I thought it was kind of appropriate for me to have that
absolutely.
topic. Yeah. Yeah, so those are the two ones that I'll be talking on. So I'm just actually finishing up some stuff now for my lecture so that I'm ready.
You're going to be
all right, teacher. Good luck.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jasmine.
Good night, guys. Thank you, Jasmine.